Okay, so just a few more points on this mission that we've been looking at. Pray for the welfare of the government, because without the fear of it, men would swallow one another alive. So interestingly, Rabbi Hanina uses the name Ish. Now, there are a number of names that we have in the Torah for men. So you have Adam, Gever, Ish, Enosh, etc. Ish actually is the name which describes man at his very best. Adam might describe a primitive person, but Ish is the civilized, cultured human being. And nevertheless, says Rabbi Hanina, Ish Esra'ehu, this man who is an Ish can swallow his neighbor. The other point over here is the idea of swallowing somebody like a fish swallows another fish. When you chew something, you have a very nice taste. But when you just swallow something whole, you don't even really taste it. And so there's something quite awful in this idea of the way in which one person can then rule over the other person without even having any personal, tangible benefit from it. And that's the point that he's making. And therefore, this really is a statement about the paradox of human nature. On the one hand, man is a very social being, is dependent upon society, is dependent on his fellow humans for his existence and for his nourishment, his nurture. But the same person is very strongly anti-gregarious, has a jealous spirit of envious competition, an unsocial desire to do things in compliance with what the wishes of the community, but only to do things that he wants, and he has very destructive tendencies. And that is the point that Rabbi Hanina is making over here. And they say, by the way, that our author over here says that there's a peculiar phenomenon that we've probably all noticed in our lives, that while a man is alive and successful, he has lots of enemies, and somehow when he dies, when he's no longer a source of competition or a source of envy, everybody praises him and he's missed by everyone, and nobody has a bad word to say about him. But in his lifetime, they couldn't stop talking bad about him. What a strange phenomenon that is. Finally, when we say over here in this Mishnah, they pray for the welfare of the Bishlomo Shel Malchut, pray for the welfare of the government. Of course, we've been interpreting government over here to mean the secular government, but there's also an interpretation that when we say pray for the Malchut, we're talking about pray for Malchut Shemayim. Let us hope that from on heaven, the Almighty arranges things in such a way that his beneficence is always upon us, that we're always protected, that even though governments of a secular nature might sometimes turn against us, as they have in the past, but the Malchut Shemayim, the heavenly government, will always be there to stand by our side and to ensure that we are able to continue to live in a good and a healthy way for us and for all of our families.